Mali's nightmare began in 2012. Rebels rampaged through the north. Islamist militants destroyed sacred shrines. Together they terrorised innocents and unleashed years of insecurity and instability. The United Nations, with around 1,000 German peacekeeping troops, stepped in to stabilise the country, but with mixed results.
What we see quite some years down the line is that the situation remains dire, that the overall conflict environment remains extremely severe in Mali.
Now the UN mission looks stalled. First France withdrew, then Britain and Ivory Coast. Now Germany will leave. So is Germany turning its back on Mali, or is there more to it? The situation deteriorated after a military coup in 2020, followed by another one just months later.
Which essentially brought to power military officers who are committed or claim to be committed to stabilizing the country, but who have taken a very different approach to how that should be done.
The new junta rulers made life difficult for their UN guests, refusing to grant flight permits. German forces based at Camp Castor in Gao were basically left sitting on their hands.
So the partnership between Western countries and the Malian government has considerably collapsed.
With alliances shifting, Mali turned to an old friend in Moscow.
And in particular with private military contractors from Russia, which of course has made it much more difficult for Western countries with a specific kind of commitment to democratic values to support this new setup.
The German foreign minister confronted her Malian counterpart over the issue.
We cannot continue to work together if there is no distancing from Russian forces.
Her appeal fell on deaf ears. The situation in Mali is the situation in Mali, and we hope that each of Mali's partners will respect Mali's choices. Mali makes its choices according to its concerns, just as Germany makes its choices according to its concerns.
Russia actually offers something of a like-minded setup in terms of the country. So, we're talking about stakeholders who value the figure of the so-called strong man as a leadership figure.
It now means Germany's €2 billion mission is all but over. Bundeswehr soldiers responsible for providing technical and reconnaissance support will pull out by May 2024.
We should be aware that it is a moment in time, and decisions made now out of frustration with the government of Mali will have a real impact on roughly 22 million people living in Mali and all the neighbor states.
But is Germany really leaving Mali in the lurch?
Germany is not turning its back on Mali because obviously the German military engagement is one of several ways of contributing to Mali. And if we look at development cooperation, if we look at the work of political foundations like ours, we are still present and we will stay present.
Berlin's retreat comes amid growing security fears at home since Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
On the one side, we have to step up our efforts for collective defense and national defense. On the other side, we have to remain committed to international crisis management. That's what we are doing right now. That's why the German government and the German parliament in total will remain committed to stabilizing the Sahel zone, for example.
That commitment, though, has been called into question. When German forces do eventually go home, it will draw the line under an ugly chapter. But with reports of violence spreading, it's unlikely to be the end of Mali's troubles.